I'm with my friends.
My friends.
We get turned
We get
up.
turned up.
I'm with my friends.
We get turned up. We get turned up.
Turned up.
Woo! All right, welcome to Chopcast. Braves clinch.
We did it.
We're in the
Everyone.
playoffs. God
We
knows
did
what'll
it.
happen, but we're there. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Our man, who would have seen this day coming? Other
Honestly.
than literally no one. Except for the Braves, except for the Phillies and the Mets. Those guys, they really helped us out.
They did.
There's
They
some
did.
true pals, you know. I mean, only
No,
winning
it's
88 games and winning your division.
I think it was 88. I mean, including we won 2 of 3 of the Mets series, and those games honestly didn't even matter.
Oh,
Damn. Yeah, we really. Honestly, though, like, we finished, 88 and 73? Yeah, 88 and 73. That's a pretty respectable record.
especially for being under 500 for the entire first half of the year.
Yeah, I feel like once we started, once we got above 500, we never looked back. I think
Except for when
we
we won and then we lost and then 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 we won and
yeah,
then we
it was like
lost
an
and then
18
we
game
won and
streak.
then we lost.
But once we went over, we went over 500. I don't think we ever went below 500 after that.
No, got kind of close one time, but
yeah.
Anyway, today we're not really going to cover the Mets series. We're going to cover the Phillies series a little bit. But main thing is just kind of recapping the season as a whole. And also just kind of going over the Brewers series, NLDS, kind of our preview, predictions for that. And then just playoff predictions as a whole. This postseason could really go a whole bunch of different directions. I was looking at just like doing the pick'em or whatever, and I don't know who to pick for each of the wild card games. I think it's just.
I mean they're gonna be good games.
Yeah.
Like the Dodgers. I know we can probably get into this a little later. But I think the Cardinals are really gonna give it to the Dodgers in LA, and then fucking Red Sox versus Yankees at Fenway.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like
nuts.
that's gonna be like one of the best games of the year, and honestly, probably one of the best games of the playoffs.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's a shame that the Nats, had to fucking blow that today to the
all my
Red
homies
Sox.
hate the Nats.
All my homies hate that. Absolute poverty franchise. 5-0 to 7-5, 7-9.
Yeah.
You just can't do that.
It's very predictable. But anyway, Phillies series, all we really needed to do coming into that one, the basic need, just taking one. We still would have been a game and a half over, playing the poverty-stricken Mets, who had been like 1-2 out of their last 12 games leading up to that. And their pitching has gone downhill and their offense has been the same, which is bad. So I said this on each of the last season or the last series recaps. I was not expecting a sweep on either end, and each game was just very controlled. We just there was the first game. Will Smith flirted with being well, honestly, he actually only gave up one pitch he gave up no hits.
He walked two people.
Yeah, and then Rosario had the error, which is very egregious.
Yeah, exactly. That was tough. I mean, that one you can really blame on Will Smith.
Yeah, and being able to get out of that with just one, especially with the bases loaded and one out, it's pretty good. And Fried is just lights out right now.
He's so fucking
He got put on the I don't remember if it was for September. It had to be because it would have been Max Scherzer for the second half, but he was on the MLB's starting lineup for the month of September. I mean, I think throwing 2 shutout games kind of helps with that.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously.
But yeah, after the first game, that was like, I feel like if the Phillies won that one, we could have very easily, just in terms of momentum, they could have shifted things dramatically. The fact that, I mean, Wheeler pitched a pretty decent game. I mean, he only gave up, I think, 4 hits.
Yeah, Wheeler was solid. I think it was. Yeah, he went 7. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk.
Yeah,
and then you had fucking Charlie Morton just absolutely lighting it up.
Yeah.
Our pitching series was
yeah.
unnecessarily good.
And then I did not predict Bryce going like 0 for 13.
Yeah, I think it was 0 for 11. It was maybe. But
I know he struck out at least 5 times, but it might have been more than that.
He looked terrible, which is hilarious because, like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on Bryce Harper, to be honest. I think he would be a good guy, and he seems like a funny enough guy and likable enough. But just the fact that he's, on a division like kind of the poster child for them kind of makes me naturally dislike him. But I will say it's funny to watch, the basically NL MVP front runner just kind of fold in like the most important series of their season.
Yeah.
They just, it didn't really seem like they came to play.
I said in the last series recap that he kind of had NL MVP locked up. And I don't think one series, even like the weight of it or whatever, should really affect you. But doing that poorly in a make or break series, I'd still think he's probably the front runner. But Juan Soto is probably pretty, and apparently Paul Goldschmidt are, in terms of betting lines, are pretty close behind him. I think Soto actually has the lead in that now.
Yeah. Soto had a really good season. This is a side note, I guess, kind of Juan Soto related, but I saw a graph that showed like his swing rate at high fastballs out of the zone. He has not swung at a high fastball out of the zone this season.
Wow.
Literally, outside of the strike zone, he has not swung at a high fastball.
That guy's our age.
That's the other scary thing. He's 22. Fucking Vlad's 22. Acuna's what? I think he's 23, but we're getting there. We're at the point where it's like, damn, what am I doing?
I mean,
Ronnie's 23.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But yeah, I was not expecting the Phillies series to be like us to be this dominant. I mean, only 1 by 1 in the first game, but when you get 2 off of Wheeler, like that's still a really good performance for him. And then not being able to hit off their bullpen is kind of bad. But really made up for it the next 2 days. Second game, we just exploded. Third game,
fantastic.
Didn't get a bunch of hits. But we weren't really. Kyle Gibson had 8 strikeouts. That's weird to me. But he did
because he looked rough.
Yeah, he did not look that good.
Not at all.
But I got to go to that game, and I was.
Oh, that's right, you were there.
Yeah, I was so excited from the get-go, and I was just so confident. Like, oh yeah, this is in the bag when Soler hit the fucking 465-foot home run.
Just like out of the fucking planet, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's just been how many? I think he's at like 26 or 27 home runs now. And when he got with us, he's on the team,
13 or 14, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was like lower. Yeah, he's definitely had obviously a significantly better second half than the first half.
Mm-hmm.
His batting average was 197 too. I'm pretty sure when we got him, and he hiked up to 222.
I think it was 170 something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was just bad.
But yeah, even that last game looks like it looked a lot. It looks a lot closer than it really was. I was really not scared that whole time, except for just
not at all.
Will Smith's presence at the end, which that was the most efficient job that he's had all year.
Yeah, eight pitches, 8 strikes. That's just perfect. And I was the same way where I'm sitting on my couch, just like absolutely clenching. I like hardly could watch, and then it was just like 1 out, 2 out, 3 out, we're done. Yeah, it's fun to watch all the players celebrating too. And I hopped on Guillermo Heredia's like Instagram live. I couldn't understand anything he was saying, but like it was like the dude's fucking crazy. As a character.
Yeah.
He'll be a postseason hero.
Hopefully. There's one play that when he caught in game 1, yeah, I think it was game 1 when Real Muto hit a liner that really should have driven Bryce like around the bases, and then
he got a really
no
good
outs.
Yeah.
It was like a 30% chance or like catch probability. And he traveled. It was like I think 50. Oh, I might be getting this out of my butthole, but it was like 3.59 seconds and like 60 feet, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I know exactly what catch you're talking about. He's
and I think
I like him. I like him coming in the late innings too.
Yeah, I still don't understand like the way that he throws his body around. It makes it look like he has no idea what he's doing.
That's so true.
And like full on sprints for pop flies and gets there at the last second. And that one, I feel like he had to be a little surprised that he even got it, because he just like the way that he caught it wasn't like a smooth reach out and grab it. He went like just he put his arm like directly in front of his eyes. And I was just like, oh no.
It just makes it more fun. It just makes it more fun, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But really clean series overall. Gave me a lot of confidence. That, and then what we'll talk about in the preview, the NLDS, one big thing kind of made me start thinking a lot more positively. But yeah, the Mets series didn't matter at all. Just the only game that we lost in that series was our hangover game, which we only lost by 1. The key things from that were, 1, getting people like Jock and Heredia and Adrianza some starts, and like Contreras. And
Willie made a home run too. It was like a no doubter.
Same with Jock. And did you see the quote from Jock about like someone
the pearl necklace? Yeah.
Will, have you seen Jock's?
I have. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's so
it's
funny.
like, no, I was wondering why he wore it. Of course, like that's what he says about it.
Yeah. He is like prototypical. The guy that if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not,
you love him. You
hate him.
Yeah, that's so true.
Because I mean, I did not like him when he was in LA.
In LA on the Dodgers, I fucking hated him. And I remember distinctly thinking that like John Peterson fucking sucks. Like I didn't, but now I don't know. He seems like such a funny guy.
Just like dyeing your hair bleach blonde, and then not only that, then start wearing a pearl necklace when you go up to bat, and then turning your hair into like a thick mohawk.
Sorta,
and then post game interview where it's like, what's the deal with the pearl necklace? And he just says, "I'm a bad bitch." Like he's got a wife and kids too. Like I can't.
Yeah. He's like a real man. He's like a human man.
Yeah, just like
Family and stuff.
what do they think of him? It's like this is this is my dad. But
It's so funny.
love
I
Jack.
don't know. I'm so happy. Obviously, so happy he's on the team.
Yeah. Yeah, that Mets series. Also got to see some of Spencer Strider's work, who I
Right.
just did not know anything about this guy until like the beginning of the season. It's like, oh, he just got called up from low A to high A, and just
All in one season, right?
well, he went from low A to high A, and then he went high A to double A, and it's like, oh, he did that pretty quickly. That's interesting. And then went double A to triple A. It's like, okay, and then triple A to the majors, all in 1 year. And he goes out there, just starts throwing gas. Like someone posted or put a comment on one of the Braves pages talking about his MPH on his sequences, and it was like 100, 100, 98, 97. It was all in that range. But he gave up a homer, but I think he got 2 Ks. And then Dylan Lee, guy that the Marlins had in their system and then dropped, and then he posted like a 159. I hope I'm definitely making these numbers up. He had an ERA in like the late ones in AAA this year, and I didn't really know anything about him either. And then all of a sudden he's here, and they got their like postseason like interviews, I guess, in a way. And the interesting thing was Edgar Santana got placed on the IL.
Do we know how long he's going to be out for?
No, and I also don't really know why.
Why? It seemed like kind of weird.
He was like celebrating and stuff with the team, and I feel like he was in the bullpen. He didn't make any appearances in the Phillies, and I don't know about the Mets. Well, yeah, he definitely wasn't in the Mets series. He didn't make any appearances in the Phillies series, so I don't know what's going on there. But he's also not a super high-profile reliever for us. But yeah, the whole Mets series, the fact that we won it too, which we should have won the second game by more, but just kind of let them crawl back in. Which big concerning thing from that is that Rich Rod gave up two runs, and it was it was off a homer, and he gave up 3 hits. ERA is climbing. Like I think when we got him, it was around a 2.2, and now it's at a 2.94.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And then Jacob Webb got to close it out on Kevin Pillar.
Oh my God, I didn't even piece that together. Holy shit.
Yeah, I saw some picture of like them tipping their caps to each other or whatever. I would be horrified. Well, I'd be terrified of him just beaming me in the face.
Yeah, that's. I mean, obviously he's. I feel like in a lot of ways that was kind of the turning point for him, because he basically blew up that game for us, and then got sent down to AAA and became like a completely different person. He's been pretty lights out ever since then. So, maybe it's a good way to finish off the season. Tipping the cap,
giving up 2 walks and just getting 1 out. But
but obviously it didn't really matter.
But yeah. Anyways, midway point of this season, after these trades, no one could have predicted like what exactly was going to happen. Solaire's success could not have been predicted at all.
No. Of all the trade pieces, he was the last one I expected to be like this fucking good. I mean, I think you can make the argument he's the best acquisition we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in terms of overall everyday production and consistency, he's been the only one that's been like a consistent starter. Like not even Duvall.
Yeah. I think that's the other one you can make the argument.
And Duvall's not a big like. I mean, his average is at like a 220 or something, or 230. There's going to be games that he doesn't get any hit at all, and the games that he does hit, it's like he only gets one, but it's like a crucial at bat, and obviously he's the NL leader in RBIs. So
right, and yeah, I feel like every time there's like if there's a man on base or in scoring position, there's two outs up. It's almost like every time he's gonna get a hit. It's kind of like his thing.
Yeah.
Just clutch.
And then the level that Eddie's been playing couldn't have been predicted either. And I mean, that's a piece like him. That was a big like roll of the dice, even though we didn't really give up anything for him. But since he couldn't come until like the last 3 weeks of the year, could have done absolutely nothing. And or it just couldn't have mattered. And I saw a quote from Darno from like I think the day after we clinched, who said that the reason, like the person who started the whole turnaround and like the person responsible for it in his eyes was Jock Peterson. Which if we wait to try to get him, one, he could have been gone at that point. And two, like that's a whole 2 weeks of games that
could have gone differently. I mean, that's 10, 11 games. Yeah. Because he was, cause you're right. Because he was the first, like, he wasn't a trade deadline acquisition. Like we just traded, we just traded for him. And I remember seeing that acquisition like in a gun leaving LA, and I remember thinking that I like posted it on my Instagram story. I'm like, how to like buyers, because that was like a huge name at the time, and obviously he still is, and I think he just contributes to us very well. He seems like really well liked and like accepted in Atlanta too. Our fan base is also just like so incredibly important, and I think having our attendance, I think Braves are second best attended MLB team. Having that just energy behind the team really propelled us in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, I especially them I think it was 18 games of us going back and forth, win-loss, which is an MLB record. It was just the kind of epitome of feeling just kind of lost in knowing what to feel about the Braves. There were like texts sent back and forth from me and Sam that were like, after we'd win, we'd be like, oh, I feel like it's going to jumpstart our season. And then we'd lose, and they were like, we're garbage. This is garbage.
Why are we watching this?
Yeah. I couldn't have predicted that 10-game win streak that we had after that. And this season was a war. And you can't really go down just one big superstar, and like that shouldn't be able to affect your season so much. But a lot of people forget it wasn't just Acuna. Like we lost Ozuna for the whole year, and Soroka, who was supposed to come back. He was like in the plans. You think about certain guys that stepped up, like Inoue wasn't in the plan for this year at the beginning. And Charlie wasn't in the plan to be as good as he was.
I mean, he's turned into essentially the. I mean, I think Max is probably the ace, but you can make the argument that Charlie's been an ace, level pitcher.
Yeah, I think for the second half of the year, most definitely, I'd say he's our most consistent ace. Not in September, which he still pitched very well, but just Fried's been lights out And I remember like a lot of the just little signings that we made. Didn't think any of those would. I didn't think that Guillermo Heredia would ever see the light of day
Yeah.
in MLB
Yeah.
on our team, and he was incredibly important for the first half. What even kept us afloat around 500.
Yeah, he was playing a lot that first half. He was playing it.
And then somebody like Abraham Almonte, which really sucks that he's gone now. I mean, he's not as good as all the rest of the players that are there for the most part. He's probably a little better than Heredia at hitting.
He's also a switch hitter, which was
I mean, he was hitting fourth for us for a solid chunk of the year, and did decently with it, and helped kind of fill in a spot behind Freddie and keep him more protected. And then like just all like Kyle Muller coming in and doing really well for a little while, and same with Tucker Davidson. Just a lot of people stepping up that it was not expected of them to do anything, or they had no idea what their role would be. But I'm very proud of this team to like be where they are now, considering how tough this entire year was. With the quality of the players that we had to start the season, we shouldn't be just like an 88 win team. We should be up in like the high 90s or even breaking 100. But considering everything that happened, this is very much like best case scenario. And very impressed with all the players in our team, and especially Alex Anthopoulos.
My God, yeah, he's the like I know he's a sung hero, but I feel like he's kind of an unsung hero too. He's the reason we're here.
Yeah, for all the people that were on like all the Braves pundits lists of like who to get, who we could like, if we're gonna be sellers, who to get rid of, who we trade. No one had. I mean, some people had Duvall on their list, but they're like, we tried to get him, but they're not going to give it to him because we're in their same division. But the only person was Rich Rod that was on that list of people who, at this point, has probably contributed the least of that whole group. Jock wasn't on the radar at all.
Started off pretty strong.
Yeah.
Lost it a little.
But like Jock wasn't on the radar. Duvall, like people started making jokes. I even was like, if we get Duvall and like we trade a big like prospect for him, that would be so demoralizing to our team. I feel like, but trading someone like Alex Jackson, who I think is terrible, for Duvall,
it is terrible.
It's pretty ridiculous. And then getting Eddie, like no one thought about Eddie Rosario. It's like, oh, he's injured and he hasn't done much this season.
Yeah, that's right, because he came in injured. He didn't start for probably 20, 30 games after he was traded.
Yeah, and then Jorge Soler was like the most random acquisition possible. Getting someone who had just like a 170 average and an on-base percentage of like 220.
I feel like there had to have been some like subtle statistic that like some analyst in the back room saw, like some like kind of situation with him.
Apparently,
that's a very strange person to trade for at the time, especially when he was like having a very cold season.
Yeah, and he was also like a very big player for them for the last couple of years.
I mean, he had a home run count in like the 40s 2 years ago.
Yeah, he had 49 home runs 2 years ago, 49. Which led the AL. And that's just it's almost like it was Ozuna. It's like a similar type of player. If we signed with like a 3-year contract, and then didn't do really great this year, and then next year was just really bad for like the first half of the season, then it's just like, oh, let's just give him up for. We gave up our 26th ranked prospect for Soler, and that was it. And you could make the argument that Ozuna has a little more quality in his glove, but I don't think so.
Ozuna couldn't throw it. Ozuna had a noodle.
Yeah, he could throw 79 miles an hour when he crow hopped.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the lowest leagues.
Yeah. Very remarkable how a lot of the things in the season even happen. And now we get to preview the NLDS, which is just something I would not foreseen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we literally knew we were going to be playing the Brewers since probably, I mean, they pretty much had their division locked up for a long time. Yeah, I mean, we knew this was coming. I personally am incredibly nervous.
For the playoffs? No.
No, Atlanta sports team in the playoffs.
No.
I'm also nervous just for my emotional state because the Falcons are so bad right now and my Trojans are incredibly bad. So I've just kind of doubled down on the Braves. But kind of looking through the Brewers roster, I know they lost because he punched a wall, which obviously we know we can empathize with because we also lost a very good pitcher. When Huascar Ynoa punched a bench, was
same location.
Yeah, literally same exact. I will say, I think it's gonna be a very good season.
Yeah, audio kind of clipped out there for a second, but Devin Williams breaking his hand, one of the best things that's ever happened.
Oh my god! Yeah, no, honestly, for us, you never want to cheer on, and it's good. It's definitely helpful.
Oh man, damn it! All right, back again. But yeah, the Brewers bullpen, probably maybe not technically, but I would consider it like the second or third best bullpen in the league, behind the Rays and maybe the Dodgers and maybe the Giants.
I would say the Brewers is honestly better than the Dodgers. I mean, just looking through their raw statistics, Boxberger and Jake Cousins. I don't know if you've been following him too, but pretty much all of their whips are at 1 or just below it.
Jeez.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that's actually insane.
And then you're going from Corbin Burns, Woody, and Peralta. You have them. Yeah, it's pretty mean. Not fun.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that I'd say the optimal plan or just the way that the game would go for us is just kind of we're not going to hit the ball a bunch. It's not going to happen, but just make our hits valuable and when we get hits, have runners in scoring position. Because the last time we played Corbin Burns, we scored 4 in the first inning off of him.
And I don't think that's going to happen again.
No. No.
Yeah.
And that was he, even after that, was able to kind of piece things together, and he didn't give up another run after that and still went another 4 innings at least. And then we scored.
What's scary is he gets better as he goes further in the game.
Yeah.
So
very true.
The earlier you get him, the better.
Yeah.
But he's in the 7th inning. That's honestly when he's at his peak.
Yeah.
So I guess the plan would be get to him quick, make the hits count, and then their offense, they can definitely get rolling, but they are not as good as our offense overall.
What's going to be scary is, I mean, Yelich hasn't really been typical Yelich this year. It's October and it's baseball, so anything can happen. But just like the possibility that like he becomes 2018 Yelich again in October, I mean, it's very possible.
Yeah. And I mean, they have guys on their team that just kind of randomly get hot. And it's almost like the Giants in that all of their hitters are like average enough. And then to where they're all hitting averagely, but then some of them have the capability of just being really good, and they like take turns. So you have people that are able to go up there and get on base somehow, and then you bring up the guy who's really hot, and then you get a 3-run homer, and then you have like still several innings of work from your really good starters or really good bullpen who are very good at limiting damage, and just wraps games up for them. But yeah, I think that's just the game plan is get to them quick, keep momentum in our favor, limit the damage, especially in our bullpen, and make sure that our starters go deep. Because while our bullpen has been really solid all year and been very good in the second half, when we throw guys out there in the 5th and 6th inning, even if they've done pretty well throughout the year, I feel like they just have not produced. Especially somebody like Chris Martin.
I feel like he's fallen off a cliff. I don't feel comfortable with him coming in at all.
But that would be like the type of guy who came in like the 6th inning at this point, more than likely. And I feel like he's probably going to give up at least 1 run each time he goes out there. But if you get at least for the NLDS, especially game 1, if it's close, I don't think we're going to put him out in the 6th. If we had to, it'd be in like the 5th or something. But thinking like game 2, game 3, when you've already used some guys, if it happened again, he would probably be in the 6th inning, 7th inning. So they haven't have they made the matchups yet? Like, have they assigned who's pitching? Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, I assume.
I see it now.
I mean, they don't play for another 5 days.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So they're probably still setting them up.
Yeah. Game 1 is Morton and Burns. And then game 2, it's Freed and undecided, which is probably going to be Woodruff. So it's more than likely going to be Morton, Burns, Freed, Woodruff, and I would guess Ian Anderson and Peralta.
Yeah.
And then game 4, maybe we'd start Enoa.
I feel like that game 4 decision is just going to be game time. Like, depending on how the series has gone. I don't think there's really a way to predict it.
They're probably going to throw Burns back out there for the 4th one. I couldn't imagine them putting anyone else back out there.
Yeah. So if they put Burns, we'd more than likely put Morton up there, especially with how Enoa's been doing recently.
Yeah.
But I don't even really like to think about each of these specific matchups because their rotation's just such a gauntlet. And I mean, I like to think that our 2 main guys can match up with them very well, especially right now. But game 3 is definitely very iffy, which kind of sucks because that's going to be our first game at home.
But being at home will help.
Yeah.
For sure.
We're going to have to take, obviously, we're going to have to take one of the games away. Which do y'all think that would be? The Morton versus Burns or Fried versus Woodruff?
Personally, go
yeah,
ahead,
go for
Sam.
it. Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say personally, I think, and actually now that I say it out loud, I was gonna say I think we take the Fried game, but just from like experience alone, Charlie Morton has pitched in so many playoff games that I feel like he's gonna just show out. So I actually would say now I'm kind of leaning more towards Morton, but I don't know. What about you, Will?
I actually I think differently. Mostly because I mean I've watched the Brewers a lot, and I mean being a natural fan of a team in their division, and every time Cincinnati played them, and I mean Cincinnati's comparable at I feel like to the Braves in that they had a pretty damn good offense this year.
Right.
And they were pretty much never able to get to Corbin Burns, but they fucked up Woodruff. They're like one of the few teams who actually did that. And then in terms of like, I'm a big Fried fan. I think he's really damn good. He's been hot recently, and he played well last year in the playoffs. So I mean, I could be totally wrong.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, he did really well against the Reds, and then he did really well against the Dodgers. He did not do great in his game against the Marlins. He gave up a solo shot in the second, and then in the third he gave up 3 runs, and it was like a bunch of hits. He was able to like clean up there, and then I think he came out for 2 more, and he went 5. So it wasn't great, but he still like did his job enough. Still giving up 4 runs in 5 innings is not great though. And if he has a performance like he does against the Reds or the Dodgers, I think that we could very easily win. Not easily, but very likely win the game against Woodruff. And but yeah, if it's like the Marlins, giving up 4 runs to the Brewers in the first like 5 innings is kind of like a death sentence.
Yeah, them missing Williams is like massive.
Yeah.
I mean that's huge.
He was NL Rookie of the Year last year, right?
He was.
He not? Yeah.
He like if you're like during the regular season, I mean, going into the 8th inning, they would just put Williams out there in the 8th and the Hader in the 9th. I mean, it was
it's ridiculous.
And like
they just mow it down.
The other guys in there, like Boxberger and Suter and Jake Cousins, like they're really good. I mean, those 3 would probably be the best reliever on the Cincinnati Reds. They're on that team, which isn't saying much, but I mean, it's a big step down from Devin Williams. I mean, he's probably a top 5 reliever in baseball, so definitely thinking optimistically there.
Yeah. And in that game, the first game that I think it was Boxberger. It was either Boxberger or another reliever that they had gotten from the Marlins, but I'm pretty sure it was him. They got him at the trade deadline, didn't they?
Boxberger? Yeah. No, they got Daniel Norris. They got him from Detroit. He's actually been not great for him, from what I remember.
Which, I mean, he wasn't even really great this season to start with. I think they were just trying to fix him up. But
you may be thinking of Hunter Strickland? I can't remember if they traded for him or not.
Let me look at his season this year. I was pretty sure. He was with the Marlins at least last year. Jeez. It might have been. They threw out Daniel Norris, and he did really poorly in that game.
Trevor Richards?
No, I think it was Boxberger. He was with the Marlins at least last year. But I remember being at the game and just knowing that he had been a Marlin and that like
Oh yeah,
we
you're right.
we
Okay.
had seen him a bunch, and Duvall hit a home run off of him, and he got kind of torn up along with Daniel Norris. So we at least have some experience with Boxberger, which is good. Like a decent bit since he was on the Marlins last year. But yeah, I don't know a whole ton about the rest of their bullpen outside of Williams.
They
and
actually
Hader.
don't even have Cousins on the roster, and they're that deep.
He's on the 10-day IL.
No, is he still on the 10-day
Yeah, it's
IL?
saying that on
Oh,
the.
I guess he is. Okay, I was about to say. Yeah, Cousins. Put it in perspective. He has per 9, he strikes out 13.2.
Gosh.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he's like their third or fourth best guy.
Goodness.
It's just
Yeah.
pretty intimidating.
Yeah, I think if we win one of these first two, I just kind of have a feeling it's going to be the first one. My thought is if we win the first one, I feel like we're going to win both. I
agree. I agree with you that.
If I had to like just make a complete guess or educated guess, which is exactly what predictions are, I'd say just what I'm feeling is we win both the first two games, lose the next one, and then win game 4. Or win 2, lose 2, and then win game 3.
And then give up 11 runs in the first inning of game 5.
Okay. Yeah. What a series that was.
That was awful.
That was the last.
That was my origin story.
That was the last NLDS game with fans that we had.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Mike Fultonevich.
Just absolute. And then Jack Flaherty just did not stop pitching well.
Yeah.
For a second.
No. But yeah,
I agree though. I think if we take the first one, we take both. But I think we should. I think we should win at least one game there. But
we have to.
We have to. Yeah, you're right. We have to.
My thought is like whoever's winning in the first 5 innings of game 1 wins the series. If it's like by 2 or more runs.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. It just I feel like setting the tone is going to be important. Let's see. Any other like notes on it? I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. Like,
yeah, I mean, other than don't necessarily know who's going to be the game 3 starter. With how Chavez has been doing as our kind of like opener in the bullpen games.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested with experimenting in like having him open for Ian Anderson. Since like we talked about a while ago, Ian has just been really terrible in the first inning or second inning. Maybe you get someone to just kind of open up the game for him, which it seems like is his worst feature. Then he can just go deep, which he's gone 7 innings his last 3 starts.
Right.
And the only runs that he gave up against Philly the other night was.
It was like a 1 home run, right?
Yeah.
In the 7th inning, yeah. 2-run shot to McCutcheon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Or 7 or 6 innings. Yeah, this one is much like a lot of the other series. I feel like this one's going to be kind of a coin toss, and I think earlier in the if this series happened like 2 weeks ago, we would get our shit rocked for sure.
Yeah.
But we're 12-2 in our last 14.
Right.
And they just kind of, I mean, it didn't really matter for them, but they just got swept by the Dodgers at the end of the season and lost Devin Williams.
Yeah, things aren't exactly looking up for them like they are for us. A little bit of an intangible, but I definitely see what you're saying there.
Yeah, I would say we have a lot more momentum than them coming in.
Yeah.
And if we're able to just put the ball in play, just get on base, and then you have a bunch of people who can run into one in our lineup, 1 through 5 in terms of super good production, and then pretty decent for getting on base 6 through 8.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We will see.
We'll just see. I'm excited for it. I obviously very excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be just a 3.5 hour heart attack affair.
Yeah.
Peeing my pants. Whatever.
Peeing and pooping everywhere. Anything around the AL, around the NL? Any interesting matchups? I know we're all pretty excited for it. Just kind of.
I mean, Red Sox,
topic,
Yankees.
Yeah,
That's
Red
the big
Sox,
one.
Yankees is gonna be great. I'm so excited. That's tomorrow too, 5:00 my time, which kind of
Are you
stinks.
kidding?
It's tomorrow?
That's tomorrow. Wait, no.
No, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's Tuesday.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fucked up if they made him play tomorrow.
All right. Let's do everybody. Get out just like find a interactive postseason bracket, fill it out
Okay.
very
Yeah,
quickly,
let's do that.
and then just each person run through it. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna pause it.
I think we just do the championship series we picked out, and then the World Series, and then. Or do you just want to do a World
You can
Series?
let's just run through them. We got them filled out now. We can run through them and then talk about just whatever. I said that the Yankees will win the wild card. The Rays and the Astros would advance to the ALCS. The Rays would make it to the World Series. And in the NL, I said the Dodgers would win in the wild card. That the Giants would beat the Dodgers and advance to the NLCS, and the Braves would win, go to the NLCS. And I'm being the one. I don't know if Sam did this yet or not, but I'm saying that the Braves go to the World Series and win.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Good. All right. Sam. Yeah. Honestly,
I will. You have to have a different approach than us because we're naive and we're stupid.
I do.
We're setting ourselves up for failure.
I have a much more different approach.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right.
I'll go through mine. I'll go through mine real quick. So I had Red Sox winning their wild card game since it's going to be at Fenway. I just think they're going to take it. And then I have the White Sox and the Red Sox going to the ALCS. I think the Red Sox are going to have a pretty significant amount of momentum, and I don't think Tampa Bay is going to do the run they had last year. Also, I just like the White Sox a lot. I think they have a lot of good, fun, young energy, and that's going to be good for postseason. And then I have the Red Sox taking that series just because I think they're a little more tenured. So I have Boston going to the World Series on that side, on the AL side. Then NL, I have St. Louis Cardinals working their voodoo magic on the Dodgers, winning that one. And then I have the Giants beating – I know Will's shaking his head right now. Well, I mean, what do you expect? And then we have another matchup of two voodoo magic teams, the Giants and the Cardinals, and I think the Giants are going to best them. And then on our bracket, I have us beating the Brewers and then us beating the Giants, hopefully. So I have a Braves-Red Sox World Series, and I have the Braves winning.
Okay, nice. So, yeah, I did mine very different. I have the Yankees beating the Red Sox. I like Garrett Cole more in one game. I like him in one game. And then Rays beat the Yankees. And then Astros, I have them beating the White Sox. And I like the Astros a lot, even though they're scumbags.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have them going to the World Series. And in the National League, I have the Dodgers beating the Cardinals despite the voodoo magic. And I had the Dodgers beating the Giants. And then I do not, unfortunately, have the Braves winning.
Man,
I'm sorry.
Will, why would you do this?
You jinxed it. You jinxed it.
Yep. And so I have the Brewers playing the Dodgers in the NLCS. Then I actually have the Brewers winning that. And then I have the Astros beating the Brewers in the World Series. So,
yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I think all I would say that Will's is probably, I would say somewhere between mine and Will's is the smartest. I disagree with a lot of things that Sam said.
Yeah, that's fair. I mainly made mine to be a little more like
hopeful.
Controversial and spice up the conversation. Yeah,
I understand.
I mainly just picked teams I liked.
yeah. I think in terms of our conference or our league, I think both of the wild card games, since it's a one game, it can be anyone's game basically. One home run can literally advance you to a whole nother series. But the Dodgers at home I think they have the best home record this year. And when all of them are clicking, they're the best team in baseball. And
they did lose Muncy today.
Really?
Like I think Muncy's done. Yeah, I think Muncy's done for the season. He did fucked up his elbow. Yeah,
that's big.
That's pretty big. Yeah,
very big.
But even so, even how hot the Cardinals have been, their starter's going to be Waino, and he's had like a 6 ERA in his last couple starts. And
the Dodgers are just going to casually throw out Max Scherzer.
Who has a sub 2 ERA. Mm-hmm. He's like a 0.7 since being with the Dodgers. Which I'm kind of surprised because I feel like Max usually has a couple blow-up games a year, and he just did not have any of those while with the Dodgers. But more than either way, I think the Giants are gonna advance to the NLCS. If not them, it'd be the Dodgers from that side. The Cardinals, if they advance past the wild card, I do not see them beating the Giants.
No.
They just don't have the pitching, and the Giants' pitching is just too good. I don't see it happening. I would love to see the Dodgers lose. I think it'd be hysterical.
Oh, I'm praying for it. I want it so bad.
Having a 106 win season and then losing to a team that at the trade deadline traded for J-Happ and John Lester.
J-Happ and John Lester.
They're such a bullshit team. But in terms of us, we already talked about it. I think it could go either way. Sam and I are definitely saying the Braves just because we're fans. If I was
very hopeful.
If I was not a Braves fan, I would definitely say the Brewers just from the context of the year. You try to convince yourself being a Braves fan. It's like, oh, I know more of the nuances of things. Like the Braves are hot. They lost Devin Williams. Like we can get hot at the plate, but the smarter choice is definitely the Brewers.
100%. Yeah, nothing you're saying is incorrect, and I do think it's going to be a good series. But from the outsider's perspective, I would definitely give it to them.
I think
if you two weren't Braves fans, who would you choose to win the World Series?
Sam, you can go first.
Yeah, so I flipped my bracket around a little, just because I wanted to be more realistic and not just pick the teams that I like and not pick the teams I don't like. I think the Astros. I think the Astros are going to win. To be honest, they have just been absolutely dominant this season, and I think they're out to prove a lot. Granted, they could just kind of die out. But I think the Astros is my pick, realistically.
Yeah, I'd say the Rays or the Astros. I don't think the Giants are going to do it.
No.
They can't carry this for this long. Like,
And they're just not. They're not. I just feel like they're not built for the playoffs. Sorry to cut you off, but they just don't seem to be like a playoff team.
I think they are for a 5-game series.
Yeah.
Because like what they've been doing the entire year is just winning
They
series.
just win 2 or 3.
Yeah.
They just win 2 or 3.
I don't think that like with the team they have and having to do a rotation of 3 pitchers more than likely and only getting 3 days of rest, I don't think that they can push.
I also feel like in a longer series, I have nothing to back this up. It's just purely, I mean, you get exposed. You're playing the same. You're pitching to the same hitters every day, and the hitters are seeing the same like pitchers basically every day, and like you pick up on that.
Yeah.
So the Giants have not scores.
Yeah.
So
and you have somebody like in your bullpen who comes out and makes saves for you, or is like a setup man like them for Tyler Rogers, or that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Tyler.
Who pitches,
Tyler and Taylor.
throws the ball like 6 inches away from the ground.
Yeah, he's like a true submarine pitcher. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah, but it's like you see him 1 or 2 times in a series and you still don't understand. But he's been like his ERA is still like very low, but he's been shelled a couple times this year.
I mean, Travis d'Arnaud hit a top of the 9th home run off of him, and then Will Smith proceeded to tie up the game in the bottom of the 9th. But yeah,
I think in the NL, it's the World Series. Like, I think it is more than likely going to be the Giants or the Dodgers. I don't think the Brewers are going to be there.
I don't think so either. I don't think they're built for it.
I don't think they have the offense.
Yeah. Also, like, I love Christian Yelich, but that's not the it factor, you know? And you could say their pitching is an it factor, but if you want to be a World Series team, you have to be incredible on both sides of the ball. And, I mean, who outside of Yelich, who do they have? Like, fucking Willie Adames.
Willie Adames has been really good. And then the person
Omar Narvaez.
Yeah, person who leads them in all
Bradley.
of their... No, he's not. He's not good at the plate. He's awful at the plate.
I was just listening to the name of the team. Yeah.
Luis Urias.
Yeah, the person who leads them in each category in RBIs and average and home runs is Avisel Garcia, which is
he's good. He's really good.
But they're kind of like a similar situation to the Giants in terms of their lineup, except for the Giants are just better in like every facet. I feel like, other than their starting and pitching is pretty comparable at this point. I feel like.
Right.
But in terms of the AL, I think the Red Sox, the Yankees is a huge tie-up. In my head, I was just thinking about the series that they had at Fenway recently, where the Yankees took 2 out of 3, or they might have swept. I can't remember. But
I'm pretty sure they swept because I remember Yankees fans were just like losing their fucking mind.
Yeah, and just seeing how hot Giancarlo was. At Fenway, I think he went 7 for 14 with 2 or 3 home runs. I feel like it's going to happen again. I feel like Giancarlo and Aaron Judge are just going to obliterate whoever the Red Sox are.
Yeah. Also with the Yankees, I hate the Yankees franchise, but I really like a lot of their players. Like, I really fuck with Giancarlo and Aaron Judge a lot, and like I feel like those are kind of the poster child.
I'm a big DJ fan. I love DJ.
Yeah,
he's been awful this year.
He's been terrible, yeah.
Which is really weird. But
Gio Urshela, did y'all see Gio Urshela's catch today? He was like running to catch a pop fly foul ball, caught it, and then just like launched into the dugout. Like, did not hit the railing, like went into where players walked down into it, flew through and like got injured, but he walked off on his own accord. Definitely check it out. Yeah.
Just looking at the matchup of Cole versus Eovaldi, that's a pretty lopsided matchup, I feel like. Except for when Cole has not been good in the second half,
he's been bad.
Absolutely taken
really
advantage of.
He got shelled a few games ago.
So
he was also definitely a sticky substance guy.
Yeah, a spider tack answer. He just stared blankly into the camera. He's just like, I don't.
What do you? I'm just like so forgetful.
White Sox and theirs. I think just the Yankees. I think they have more impact bats, and I feel like that's what's gonna get them through that game. And I think the Rays are very clearly a better team than them, though, and it showed it. Winning that series at Yankee Stadium at the end. The Astros, White Sox, I feel like with the players they have should just be so much better than they are, and they're 93 and 69, but they're also in the worst division in the league.
Really bad division.
They just get to beat up on bad teams.
I will say, I do think they're like a sneaky contender solely because they get to have Kimbrel and Hendricks.
Yeah.
Which
Kimbrel's not been too good there, actually. And
he's been really bad.
Yeah, he's been tough.
Yeah.
Well,
they also
I was just gonna say they're throwing him in the fucking 8th inning, and he's a closer.
Mm.
Like it never made sense to me why they didn't go for a high profile like reliever. Instead, they traded for a closer when they already had Liam Hendricks. That was obviously going to cause issues.
I mean, I think they were just thinking like, we're making a Devin Williams, Josh Hader kind of thing right here, and it's like, you don't have the lead going into the 8th, you're done.
They also have Garrett Crochet. I mean, that guy's nuts too.
They have a very good bullpen, but I know like they just should be a lot better than they are, and that's one of those series like. I'm going to be rooting for them very heavily because I hate the Astros, but I think the Astros are just going to eat them alive.
Yeah.
And then I think Astros versus Rays is another toss-up.
That's going to be fantastic. That's good. I can't imagine it won't be that matchup.
Greinke's coming back, by the way. He's going to be back.
He's been pretty bad. Like
they're apparently going to put him in the bullpen, so let's see how that goes. I'm interested to see how that goes.
So who's going?
That's going to go so poorly.
Who's going to be their top? Is like Framber Valdez, Lance McCullers, and who else? Or wasn't it? I'm
forgetting.
He's traded from the Twins. He's done pretty well for him.
You see, they're just like they're in that same category as the Giants, where like. I don't know their pitchers' names. I just know they're good.
Yeah. Which is stupid considering their payroll.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the ALCS, I don't think the Red Sox have a shot of getting there. I think it's more than likely going to be the Rays. I feel like that's a lock. Yankees could get really powerful and get there somehow, but I just don't. I think the Yankees were like gonna explode on the Rays one game and then just do nothing the next couple and get shut down.
Right.
The Astros, I feel like most people think that they're gonna beat the White Sox, and then from there, Rays and Astros is a toss-up. In terms of in terms of like the most kind of in the air series out of each of these, I would say that the AL wild card is going to be just who shows up that day. The Dodgers should destroy the Cardinals.
They should. Yeah, they absolutely should win.
But the Cardinals are also incredibly hot. And
nice.
The Giants should beat the Dodgers in a 5-game series. And definitely the Cardinals. So they will more than likely be in the NLCS. If they don't show up, then the Dodgers will be there. The Cardinals will not be there. Braves and Brewers is a toss-up. I don't think the Brewers will make it to the World Series. I think we could have a chance against the Giants, but I just don't think the Brewers have the offense to get past them. So, World Series, I think it would involve the Rays or the Astros, maybe the Yankees, and then the Giants or the Braves, and maybe the Dodgers. But
All right. Yeah, I think the NL is gonna be a big toss up, but the AL seems like I feel like it's almost definitely has to be.
I could see all five
Rays,
of those teams in the
Astros.
AL. I genuinely could.
You think so?
I honestly could.
I would like
don't
to
know.
see.
I want the
think-
White Sox.
Yeah, I'd
I
like
want
the
the
White
I want the White Sox too, but my thing is, like, when you compare the two leagues, I think there's a steep drop off between the talent, like the top talent in the NL to the bottom. So like Dodgers Cardinals, perfect example.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I mean, Yankees and Rays, I mean, they're like talent wise, they're pretty much neck and neck. Like people at the beginning of the year were projecting the Yankees to win 100 or so games.
Mm-hmm.
And I also just I'll be frank, I like a lot of the Red Sox players. So
Yeah.
I think that that league is going to get messy.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this wild card game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, me too.
Really,
It's so
really
much fun
fucking
to
excited.
watch as a fan that of not the teams that are in it.
Yeah, just benign. Yeah, like you're just there, but I agree. And it's gonna be at Fenway. Oh my god, that's gonna get rowdy. Hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah. But hopefully next series recap will not be incredibly depressing and be the last series recap of the year. But excited to see the postseason, regardless of how it turns out. That's not entirely true. I'll be incredibly depressed if, and more than likely when the Braves lose. So
We'll
just have to
see.
All right. Well, I gotta take a poop. It hurts.
Yeah. I gotta go eat dinner. So
Yeah.
Oh God, that's weird to think about.
Yeah.
yeah, 8 o'clock. I'm gonna get a big burrito, and then I'm gonna poop
Mm,
11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
yeah.
Well,
Well, I'm still pooping at 2 a.m. Eastern time.
Eastern Time.